We should be here tonight, and I'd like to call our board meeting to order and ask you to stand for the invocation by Dr. Wilson and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Thank you. Let's pray. Dear Father, we just thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity we have to serve you in the different positions as we serve our community and our children. Pray for the board today. Pray that you give them wisdom to make great decisions and just be with us this week. We pray for those that are not feeling well, that you'll continue to help them get better. And just bless this meeting. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Our next item is item number 4, which is approval of the agenda, and I need a motion that we accept tonight's agenda.
I so move that we accept this agenda.
Ms. Elson and Ms. Cox. All those in favor, if you show up by the uplifted hand. And that is unanimous. Okay, next item is item number 5, minutes of our January 28th meeting. Do we have any corrections or additions to be made at this time? Hearing none, we'll be ready to vote. If I could get a motion to approve the minutes. Mr. Wilson, and a second. Ms. Elson. All those in favor, show up by the uplifted hand. That is unanimous. Dr. Young, would you recognize our press?
Yes, we're thankful to have Mr. David Mead from the Emergency Journal here tonight.
And you want to go ahead with the other guests?
Yes, ma'am. We've got several folks we want to recognize tonight. We've got 4 new principals that we're recommending to the board this evening that I'm going to have introduce themselves and their families. We begin with Mr. Kevin Williams, who we're recommending to be the next principal at Powdersville Middle School.
Thank you, Dr. Young. My name is Kevin Williams, and I've been recommended to be the principal at Powdersville Middle School. This is my 21st year in education altogether. I got hired as a teacher at Powdersville Middle back in 2011, and with the exception of a short 2-year stint at Pickens Middle as an assistant principal, I've been in District 1 since 2011, with the last 6 being assistant principal at Powdersville Middle and a short stint at Concrete Primary. Honored to be here, excited for this opportunity to be the principal at Powdersville Middle School. Joining me tonight is my wife, Ashley. She teaches the Gifted Talented class at Powdersville Elementary. This is my son, Asa. He's a 2nd grader at Concrete. And this is my daughter, Ellison. She's a 5th grader at Powdersville Elementary. Thank you.
My name is Brenda Horn. I am currently the principal at Powdersville Elementary and recommended tonight as the principal at Oak Hill Elementary. Joining me tonight is my husband, Seth, and my son, Wilkes. My 2-year-old daughter did not make it tonight to save everybody some havoc tonight. I have been at Powdersville Elementary specifically for a little over a decade, which has really shaped me into the educator I am today. It was such a rewarding experience that has grown me a lot, and I couldn't be more excited and honored to be able to step into the new chapter for the Powdersville community at Oak Hill and doing that alongside each of you and our Anderson One leadership team. So very excited for the upcoming opportunity. I just want to say thank y'all for that.
Next, Ms. Martin.
Okay. I'm Kelly Martin. I'm being recommended for the principal position at Powdersville Elementary. I'm a product of Anderson School District 1, and I've been in education for 26 years. The last 11 years have been at Powdersville Elementary as the reading coach and assistant principal. I am so excited about this opportunity to be able to lead our school and lead our staff, and look forward to continuing the tradition of excellence at Powdersville Elementary. I brought a crew with me tonight. I got a supportive family. So I have my mom, my daughter Lydia, my son Evan. My dad, I've already heard you discussing, is currently at Powdersville High getting ready to start his basketball game. So we're all going to rush out after this to go attend.
We don't blame you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. My son Evan, my son Jacob, my husband Jason, my mother-in-law Pam. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Miranda Leopard, and I am currently the assistant principal at West Pelzer Elementary, and I'm being recommended for the principal. job at West Falls Elementary. Super excited for this opportunity. Been in Anderson 1 for a long time. Been at West Falls for 10 years as the reading coach and then assistant principal. I have my husband Jason with me, and then my boys, sophomore at Powdersville High School, Braden, and then a sophomore at Clemson University, Jackson, who graduated from Powdersville. So, thank you.
Ms. Brady, I think we've got a teacher.
We do. We are very excited to have a speech-language pathologist recommendation for the 25-26 school year. So, Haley, if you would like to introduce yourself.
So I'm Haley Merck. I grew up in Anderson 1. I went to Hunt Meadows and Middle Urban High School, and then I went to Western Carolina University for my graduate program for Communication Sciences and Disorders. I've been working in the schools for a little over a year now, and I just am really excited to have the opportunity to come back to Anderson 1. This is my home and my community, so I'm just really excited for the opportunity, and I thank you guys for the recommendation.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr.
Well, hey, on behalf of our school district board, let me welcome you to the best school district in South Carolina. I think our principals, and I hope they already know that, so I won't say that to them. We were glad to have all y'all, and if I were going to the ball game, I'd go ahead and leave. I just hope they win. Okay.
We've got one more group we want to recognize. I think I shared with you, and this is still not completely public information because it deals with test score data, but we're really excited about the gains that our Algebra 1 teachers at Palmetto High School made this year, and they were invited to speak to the Instructional Roundtable last week, and we felt like it was appropriate for you guys to get to see them too. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Dr. Young. We know, I'm going to make this brief, but we want to make sure we celebrate these folks. We know the greatest impact on the student is the classroom teacher. And then just second to that are coaches and our leaders in the school building. And it's phenomenal to be able to stand here in front of you and recognize some really hardworking teachers or a powerful team in our district. My computer's acted up, so let's see if it will work for me. But we want to spotlight a successful team in our district, and I can think of no better team to really earn that recognition than our Algebra 1 team at Palmetto High School. Dr. Young mentioned here at the end of the semester, we still have embargo data that we can't make public. But what we can share, and I think you'll kind of read between the lines a little bit here, this is uber successful, folks. So from 22-23 to now, this team that we're going to introduce to you in a moment, they have nearly doubled the percentage of students scoring A, B, or C on the Algebra 1 EOC, and nearly 100% of their students score passing. When we have an opportunity down the road to actually sift through some of that data and show you, make it public, you'll be amazed. It's phenomenal. It also is very indicative of hard work, and they've also had quite the support staff and team to help them and grow them along the way. So, having said that, I want to introduce them, and we got a little certificate for them, and then we'd love to take a picture if we can with Miss Upton and Dr. Young. Drew Halgren. Drew?
Mr. Miller, why don't you tell us how long you've been teaching that?
A phenomenal part of this story is of this team of 3, and correct me if I'm wrong, we've got 2 first years and 1 second year, which is, I mean, for those not as, I guess, obvious in education, that's phenomenal, which shows you the power of teamwork and support for a team. I mean, it's magnificent. So, Drew, congratulations, if you'll just stay here. Madison Duffy, congratulations. Reagan Stout, cool, congratulations. You know, I've handed out a few of these in my lifetime. You think I have it figured out by now. We also want to recognize 2 folks in a support role at this school. You know, one thing is true, like teachers work really, really hard, but their job, I mean, they make thousands and thousands of decisions a day, and it's so difficult. It's just a hard job. So when you have support people that come in there and challenge, cheerlead, support, offer guidance, and expertise, when all that jives together in a common direction, it's just fascinating to see. So I want to also recognize Lisa Houston. Thank you so much. And then Stacy Carlton. Thank you so much. How about a big round of applause?
y'all could move this way in front of the desk, that'd be awesome. Alrighty. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Go ahead, that's
Hello, sir. How are you? Good. Good to see y'all.
That's our paper.
Good luck tonight. Thanks,
We'll make it on time.
Oh, yeah, 2 wheels.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you. That's it, right there. That's it. Good luck.
Congratulations. How you doing? Thank you. Careful. Hurt my nose.
While they're leaving, I'd like to just speak. Ms. Burgess and I were both at the instructional roundtable, and our teachers blew them away. The teachers talked about what they did and how they did it, and I can't tell you how many emails and calls we've gotten. They were extremely impressive. Y'all would have been very proud of them.
And Mr. Morton, another great job, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Young.
Next will be the financial report. We're on the January tab, right, Mr. Thomas?
That's right.
So we'll begin with the local accounts of the different schools. As always, if you have any questions about anything specific with that, please feel free to reach out to me or Mr. Thomas. Next is in your blue papers for our investment accounts. You'll see we've got 47 CDs with a little over $10.67 million, and that accrued over $289,000 in interest last month. And then you see our food service fund, which had 2 CDs totaling $396,000 with a little over $4,300 in interest. The next page, you see the specific accounts. And then the following page, you'll see backups, page 1 through 3. And the next page has backup to page 4. And then back up to page 5. And then back up to page 6. Next is the building program update. What you'll see is that we've had the transfer from the local option sales tax. In the next month, you'll see a big chunk of lump sum that will get transferred into that, so that number will increase quite a bit. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Thomas.
All right. And the report Dr. Young's referring to is the 2022 Building Program Subfund 502. You can see our total revenues right at $33.2 million. Total expenses so far for the entire duration, $23.4 million. And just keep in mind that's basically about what the 8% money equaled, about $23 million with the bond proceeds. You can see at the top the $20 million, the premium, and then the interest we've earned on that so far. So we've about exhausted those funds, but as you know, we knew we were going to have to pool our resources to do the projects we're talking about, especially the Oak Hill one being the big one of the bunch. So as Dr. Young says, we've already begun transferring roughly about $600,000 a month of our local option sales tax And I think we actually have that mislabeled up there, transfer from capital, but it really should be under that transfer from local option. That 1.8 million represents 3 months worth. We've since, in the month of February, transferred another 3 months, another quarter, so another 1.8 million. And as Dr. Young said, as these funds get exhausted, and they will, we'll have to do a lump sum transfer of our local option to help supplement the completion of the projects. All right, the following report is our local option sales tax, Subfund 515. This was a good collection month. It actually was collections for the month of October and November, so it's 2 months worth. Anderson County as a whole received just under $7 million. Anderson One's percentage of that is 33.5%, and equated to $2,352,000. 20% of that goes to property tax relief, $470,000, and the remaining 80% for capital use, $1,881,000. Below that, you can see the beginning fund balance for January of $20.4 million, plus revenue and interest less expenses for the month brings our fund balance to $22,278,000. All right, and the following report is the revenue report for school board. You can see all of the accounts listed. The bottom has our totals. Revenue for the month of January, $20.6 million. And then total revenue received year to date, $68.2 million, which puts us at 60% of budget. And then the next report's our final report, the expenditure report. You can see all of the categories listed. The second page has our totals. Expenses incurred month of January total $13.5 million, and total expenses year to date $62.9 million, which puts us at 55% of budget. That's a little bit high and a little bit misleading, because if you'll see the second line from the bottom, 710, there's a cash transfer. That's what the board agreed to do at the beginning of the year to move some fund balance in to supplement the building program as well. So you can see that 4.3 million sways those numbers a little bit, but if you take that out, we're very much in line with where we were same time last year. And that's all I have, unless there's questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Okay, Dr. Young.
Next, Mr. Moore's got an instructional report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Young. And just a kind of a brief update for the board in regard to some professional development ongoing, and then kind of a look forward to next month. I wanted to start with a picture of some of our instructional coaches in the district. One of my goals is to really bring some K-12 coherence and common direction for us K-12. We recently celebrated our coaches in this room with a luncheon and some learning. And so you saw the algebra team that we just recognized, and I'll tell you, they're great teachers and hard workers, but they benefited from quite the expertise from some coaching. And so we value that, and that's been a priority for us in the district the last couple of years. We've talked about kind of building a coaching culture, if you will. We think good sports teams have good coaches and great coaches, and so our great teams, we want to have great coaches, and we think there's a common denominator there. I wanted to mention quickly, and I'm not going to read all these bullet points, it's in your presentation. There was an article given to us, or referenced in a meeting in Columbia with instructional leaders, a TNTP report about what creates trajectory-changing schools. In other words, schools that are really taking students below grade level and then moving them to grade level and catching them up. And it talks about three things: consistency, coherence, and belonging. And I wanted to just pick out a few things from this list because I believe it's very indicative of kind of the direction we're headed and things that we're doing. So you'll see things in here like structures and a time for educators to meet in collaborative teams. Well, that's our PLC work, meeting in collaborative teams. Clarifying rigorous grade level standards by creating exemplars. So what have we been doing? We'll talk about this in a minute. We've been digging into our new standards, ELA this year, math next year. And we think that having a strong team of teachers focused on the right things, we call it the right work, is what is the powerhouse in Anderson One that drives us forward. And even though we are a great district, a top district, we know that there are still kids out there that we need to reach. And so we think this is the process to do that. And so what I would share with you, just as we wrap up, these are a couple of pictures from our most recent staff development day on the 14th. And they got to spend Valentine's Day with us. And they love going and working together. They really do. And so you see, these are taken from high school math and ELA sessions. And they are with their collaborative teams, digging into their standards, learning about their standards, finding out where they might disagree, finding out how they teach it differently, and finding what works to move more kids to proficiency with these standards. And so that's always great to see our teachers working together. And so this is what the 14th looked like primarily in Anderson 1. We have continued letters training, K through 5 in our district. We are about to wrap up our second cohort, finishing volume 1, so they're about halfway there. And so next year will be a year where the majority of our teachers will actually finish with letters. Middle school, they are jumping into our Leader in Me, which you know has been successful at the elementary level, and all 3 principals reported just a great day with their faculties, and I thought that was wonderful to hear. You saw pictures of ELA and math teachers working collaboratively on their standards, and then I think Dr. Young would attest, we received great feedback from our teachers. And professional development isn't always glorious and glamorous, but it's necessary, and when you get good feedback K through 12 about that professional learning day, that's a great thing. And we want to continue that work on the 14th and have some great plans in store to continue this work that we're doing. And just very quickly as I wrap up, I want to share with you that Ms. April Hayes, our Director of Testing and Accountability, will be here with us. I'll introduce her next time. She will have our strategic renewal plan updates to share with you, and that will be a great time for us to review that. So she looks forward to being able to talk to you and present that to you in March. So I will certainly entertain questions. Turn it over. Yes, ma'am.
I think one of the reasons that we have such good grades from our students is the teachers, the teachers and the leaders that we have. I think we have excellent leaders.
Yes, ma'am.
I think we should be proud of them.
Yes, ma'am. Teachers and leaders together make it work. I would agree 100%.
I think that's the reason we have such high grades.
We would 100% agree with you, Ms. Cox. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Warren. If there's no other questions.
So
Okay.
to Ms. Cox's question, I actually have the same comment. PLC is talking about consistency, coherence, and belonging. Is that in the cohort of the PLC?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know that.
Yes.
I mean, so, yes, but to her point, I mean, the school down in Greenwood that they brag about so much, I mean, what are they doing?
In those same words, and you'll see, and that's what exactly what West
that's a
Carolina-
leadership issue, though, right?
Yep.
I think it has to
So, I
be
mean,
the
we
building
can't,
level.
I mean, I know PLC's good, but we always have to continue to put great people
Yes.
ahead of that school.
I 100% agree, and I would even further that say,
And
Mr.
even more so in
Wilson,
the classroom.
agree. When you've got vision leaders, people that cast a vision, a direction, and then support, they're the backbone of it, I would 100% agree. Yes, sir.
And this article that Brad's referring to is called the Opportunity Gap. And I will say that though there really, it's not rocket science, so to speak. And those are all the things that Barry did at Pinecrest.
Big time.
So we're leading the way. We're not following, we're leading. We don't catch your.
Well, and I'll say this to Ms. Burgess's point, there's simplicity, like there's a power in simplicity with that, and I will 100% agree.
That's why it's about the consistency piece. But I think too, just to make sure that we are making sure that everybody is included in that PLC, and I'm speaking from my experience, is that, where do the PE teachers go, the ML teachers, and
All those singletons.
the little singletons out there, and
Yes,
making
ma'am.
sure that they are also feel part of that learning community, actively engaged in.
Yes, ma'am.
And those, so,
Yes, ma'am. Agree.
great job.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay,
Excuse me. Next, turn to Ms. Brady for the student nutrition report.
You know, it's so bad to follow instructions.
It is. I hate it more than Miss Brady.
I mean, it
I
really
mean,
is.
but it
I'm
is
trying to
important that
make
the
it
kids are
glamorous.
eating good and the cafeterias are clean and functioning properly. All that's good stuff too.
That's exactly right. And we have to keep our students fed and nourished. So we did see a little decline in January due to a couple of late arrival days. So hopefully we'll bounce back in February and March. And then we did receive, as you can tell there, over $500 in commodities from the USDA, which will provide fresh fruits and vegetables for our students. So that's our report.
But you always have a great report, so we appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
Mr. Benker spent one whole year in your job talking about Smart Mouth Pizza, so.
Smart Mouth Pizza's good now.
Maybe I should just bring y'all one.
Yeah.
That's right.
Next is our construction update, and I just wanted to share with you a few pictures.
Other tab should be.
Awesome. Got it. First off, concrete. Last time we approved for Triangle to begin work. We have a meeting tomorrow with William, who you all met at our conference, to work with Ms. Pageant about the game plan for the next steps there. You'll start seeing some movement in their parking lot, doing a lot of stuff over the next couple of weeks, and then really over spring break, they're going to really get going on the office area and things like that, so that the building starts looking like this by the time we open up this fall. It's real exciting to see how quickly they plan to move. We'll really get the ball rolling on that over the next few weeks. Had an opportunity to tour Oak Hill last week. Some of you might have seen some of these pictures, but I just want to share them with the group. This is actually what the gym at Oak Hill looks like. Remember, that's going to be a full-size gym. Looking forward to being able to partner with Play in Powdersville to provide opportunities to work with that community group. And also, I'm sure the middle and high school coaches will be arguing over if they need to practice in there during volleyball and basketball season. This is right across the hall from the gym. This will end up being one of the music classrooms. It's coming together. You can see kind of what it looks like. This is one of the instructional wings. So this will be where the first grade and the fourth grade will be upstairs from that. So that's that area coming together. And this is up underneath kind of where the first grade classes. So you see kind of where the columns are, where the classroom spaces will be in that collaborative area that's in the middle where students will be able to get together and do things as a grade level and teachers provide intervention, that kind of thing. This is the principal's office. So you see outside on the picture on the right, there's 2 windows there on that corner. And then over here, it's closet, storage space, restroom. When I was a principal, I didn't have any of that. I just had to pile everything in the corner and walk down the hall to go to the restroom. But that's Mr. Banker's fault. This is the reception area, and I've got some artifacts that I'll show you at the end of the meeting that we want to display in this area. But I don't know if y'all remember meeting Sid and Elaine Wilson at the groundbreaking. Their house is right across the street. They've been working with people in the community to collect artifacts, and we've got a diploma from the 1930s. We've got pictures that go all the way back to 1910 of the original Oak Hill School. So it's really neat to see some things. They're continuing to gather stuff. So we'll have a neat display that we can put there. And if you remember, Mr. Merrick made a connection with one of his family members that had the original bricks to the foundation that we're going to be able to utilize in the entryway and also in the library, have a display to commemorate the original school. And then back here, this is where the cafeteria will be. If you can kind of see where some of these cinder blocks are in the wall, that'll be where like the kitchen and the serving line and all that eventually. We were supposed to be pouring the slab for that this week. It's finally warm enough outside that they can keep moving with the concrete, so it's coming together. I know you probably get questions like me and Dr. Wilson do about attendance lines, so we're starting to finalize things, but I just wanted to share this with you just so you can kind of start to see like what a guide is for what we're using. This blue line right here is Highway 81. This green line is Three Bridges Road, if you're familiar with the Powdersville area. This whole area highlighted in red is the Powdersville attendance zone. So you can see Powdersville Elementary School is right here. Concrete primary is right here. The new school will be right here, where Elrod Road and Oak Hill come together. Actually, right here, I was pointing the wrong intersection, so you can see it right off 85 and coming by, but that's where the new school will be. So you can kind of see a breakdown of concretes between these two natural barriers right here. You can see Powdersville Elementary, can 153 here, Powdersville Elementary there, and then Oak Hill probably would have something going this way. What we're trying to do is make sure all three schools, because if you've been, I know Dr. Wilson has been to lots of planning commission meetings over the last several months, and I have too, but there's a lot of development proposed out this way and out here. So we want to make sure we leave room, especially in Powdersville Elementary and Oak Hill, for more students to be able to move in. And then at Concrete, there is a huge development proposed right here off Cooper Lane that we want to make sure eventually that'll probably get approved. We want to make sure Concrete has room to absorb more students as we see more growth in the Powdersville community. This is obviously not definitive lines. There's some figuring out like how bus routes would work best and most efficiently with some of these larger neighborhoods right here off of Three Bridges Road. And then there's some other ways, like we want to make sure some of these apartments don't overcrowd this way and keep things equitable as far as attendance, populations, student enrollment, and all that. Our hope would be we've got about 1,600 kids, about 800 in each school right now. So more than likely we'll try to divide that as evenly as possible, but we also want to take into account things like poverty rate, ML support that's needed, special education support. So we're finalizing all that. By the March meeting, we'll be able to have some more definitive ideas so we can start moving ahead and communicating out exactly what. But just kind of wanted, we've talked about some natural barriers, but those are some natural barriers that kind of provide a starting point for how we can at least start putting the pieces together, what this puzzle is going to look like. Any questions on that?
No, but every morning when I go up to the office, I can see the work going on.
Oh yeah, it's coming together quickly.
How many children is it built to hold?
The new school is actually built to core for 1,000, so there's room for us to grow. So that really will be able to absorb some more growth as we go out River Road. All right.
Thank you.
I'll turn it over to Dr. Wilson. He's got a
Thank you.
policies to look at.
Thank you, Dr. Young. I would like the board to consider for second reading the following policies: policy ID, school day; IHAA, English, reading, language arts education, writing and language arts education; policy IKE, promotion, retention, acceleration for students; policy IKF, graduation requirements; policy JIHC, weapons detection devices; and then the administrative role for that policy, ARJIHCR, use of weapons detection. Most of this is language changes based on some new laws that have come out. School day, just to ensure that we are meeting all the requirements of the new regulations that have come out. There have been some changes in state law around third grade and who does and who doesn't get held back and who has to go to summer school. So we just wanted to make sure we were meeting all of those. So there's really been no changes since the last board meeting. So I would like to ask the board to approve these and happily answer any questions that the board might have.
You've heard Dr. Wilson's recommendation that we approve policy ID, policy IHAA, policy IKE, policy IKF, policy JIHC, policy ARJIHC-R. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Wilson, do I have a second? Second. Ms. Cox, any discussion? Hearing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please show it by the uplifted hand.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, safety update.
The only change I would say with the safety update, based on what we've been doing, is we feel like the Open Gate weapons detection system that we've been using at the high school and rotating it around has been We've gotten very positive feedback from the community. It has worked really well. I want to thank Dr. Wilson and the high school administrators for being flexible, being creative with how that looks, making sure that's gone well. As you remember, we part of the Jewel settlement that we were a part of, we continue to get money that can be used for safety. We've had fake detectors in our restrooms. Well, another thing that these weapons detections, these metal detectors, they pick up on these vape devices as students bring them in. So we got another part of that settlement for Anderson 1, and we're going to be able to purchase some more open gate equipment without any strain to the general fund. So that's going to be more safety equipment that we can have at the high schools, so we don't have to rotate them around as much. And then we're also working with the Career Center to have additional security guards, more folks on our campuses that are just another set of eyes to help us with this. And then as we move into next school year, one of the things that I know I've talked about it with Ms. Upton and we discussed it at the conference is one of the things that Dr. Wilson and I will probably bring to the board over the next couple of months is looking at an open bag policy, or clear bag policy, not open, at athletic events. Because I think Anderson 1, Anderson 2 are one of the few districts in upstate that don't have that. And I know Anderson 2 is also discussing that for athletic events, is having a clear bag policy, just as another layer of safety of those extracurricular events. I know Dr. Wilson actually attended a training in Fort Mill with the state about managing athletic events, extracurriculars, and that's definitely one of the recommendations that they talk about having that. So that's something we'll also discuss over the next couple of months.
Sounds good. Any questions? Okay, you want to move on to?
Yep. Next, as you know, we missed some school back in the fall. I don't know if Mother Nature is playing a joke on me as a first-year superintendent, but we've had more weather events this year than we've had in the last, I don't know when, but we had a hurricane where we didn't have power for a week, and then we've had several interruptions in January. They tried to mess with us last week, but we didn't listen to the local meteorologist, and I think we made the right call. But we've had some weather updates. We had hoped, working with the state legislature, that maybe the state legislature would forgive those days. I do want to say our local delegation has been very supportive and understanding and tried to help us, but at the same time, things happen sometimes in Columbia. So we're at the point in the year where if we're going to make a change to our calendar, we need to go ahead and get out in front of it. And then if they forgive the days, then we don't have anything to worry about. But one of the things that we've talked with our administrators and teachers and our staff about is trying to create a plan that is as least disruptive as possible. We worked with the State Department, and they told us that we could use any e-learning days left as a makeup day. And then they also gave us permission to, if we wanted to use the half days at the end of the year for additional instructional time, that we wouldn't have to wait until after the Memorial Day holiday to do our makeup days. So what I am proposing, and I know the other districts in Anderson County are proposing this as well, is that we have to make up 3 days of the 4 days that we were officially closed. As you see, we used e-learning for 2 of the days that Hurricane Helene was here before we really realized how massive the power outages were and how long they were going to last. So then after Monday, September 30th, we actually closed for the remainder of the week because so many people didn't have power, teachers couldn't do e-learning, things like that. But as you all know, most of our staff was doing something to support students, whether it be our cafeteria staff coming up to the school to make hot meals. Teachers were doing things to check on their students. We had folks, all maintenance, custodians were really spending a lot of their time getting our facilities cleaned up. So we had a lot of folks that were still working those days, even though we weren't technically open. But by state law, we do have to make up 3 of those days. So what I'm proposing is that Friday, April 18th, is a holiday, if we make that an e-learning day, folks can still go on their vacations if they're going to be gone that weekend. Teachers can plan ahead of time, and students can do their work, and we give them enough time in advance to do their assignments, and they have enough time after the e-learning day to turn in that it really won't be a significant disruption to our staff or the community. And then the other thing would be we make Wednesday and Thursday are originally going to be half days where we had early dismissal. If we have full days of school scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday, May 21st and 22nd, that's enough hours for us to get credit for the second day we need to make up. And then the third day that we need to make up would be a half day on Friday, May 23rd, which is already scheduled to be a professional development day. We do a half day for students that morning, and then we have teachers and administrators wrap up what they need to do to finish up the school year that afternoon. And so that would be 3 days. And then if you guys accept that proposal, we would ask the board to forgive Friday, October 4th, because that was the 4th day we were closed, and state law allows you all to forgive that day if we have a plan to make up the other 3. Any questions of that? I feel like I tried to explain that okay.
Sounds good. Do we have a motion to amend the 2024 and 2025 calendar to accommodate the makeup days? Do you want us to include in that the forgiving of Friday?
Yes.
Which includes forgiving Friday, October the 4th. Do I have a motion?
No.
I second.
Mr. Neal and Ms. Cox. Any discussion?
Just good job on putting all this together.
I gotta give Mr. Christopher Anderson for a lot of credit. He really worked with the State Department to get this plan approved. So I gotta give him a little shout out.
Good. All right. No discussion. We're ready to vote. All those in favor, show by the uplifted hand. And that is unanimous. Then we go to the next item, which is personnel.
You were able to meet our administrative recommendations. We also have, and one of the teachers, we also have a couple other teacher recommendations. One of the teachers is not able to be here because he's with Miss Martin's dad coaching basketball in the playoffs. And then the other teacher was not able to be here, but she will be, Mr. Bruce and Miss Lackey will both plan to be here at the March board meeting. And then we have one retirement on the second page.
Okay. You've heard the superintendent's recommendation for personnel. Do I have a motion that we accept his recommendations? Mr. Wilson.
This
Ferguson and Mr. Wilson,
I'll
second.
Yeah.
In discussion, hearing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor, please show up by the uplifted hand. And the next item is to adjourn. Do I have a motion? Ms. Elson, a second. All those in favor, please stand. And thank you, and I think you have plenty of time. You keep driving.